I remember crossing the border very clearly because the people that we crossed with just told us, be quiet and pretend you're asleep so that Border Patrol doesn't ask you anything. And it was just pretty much, I kind of pretended I was asleep, and then they told us, oh, you can open your eyes now, we're on the other side. And it was just kind of like very surreal experience of being brought here. Like, I knew that I was coming here without, any legal documents. So I never really came with the intention of staying here. It's just kind of after a while, having been living here and going to school here, my parents decided that, we were just gonna settle down and live here.
There is no doubt that the youth of the United States have always been at the forefront for social change. We have seen time and time again that whenever people come together and understand their rights and are no longer afraid, that change happens. Laws change. For many years now, students who are undocumented have been advocating strongly that they have the same right as anyone else to get a job and get an education. Every year, 65,000 undocumented students graduate from high school. And every year, the aspirations and the hopes of those high school students crash into the reality of not being able to go to school. Not because they don't want to, not because they're bad students, but because they don't have a piece of paper.
I remember in 7th grade, I applied for a scholarship, and I wasn't able to get it because I didn't have a social security number. I felt like I had to work like 10 times harder than everyone else, that I had to just do community service like crazy and be involved in everything else just so that I could stand out somehow, and somehow in the future I could, move on with my life and go on to college like I wanted to and have a career for myself. It was so contradictory, like a contradicting feeling. Like I knew that I had to do really well, but at the same time it's like, well, you're doing really well for what? You grow up thinking that, oh, this can happen, and your teachers tell you like, you can do whatever you want. In the back of your mind, you're always gonna have like, but, you can't because you're undocumented.
A problem became really evident that you had a lot of thousands and thousands of well-qualified students who did well all through their junior high school years, wanted to go to college, were prepared to go to college, were qualified to go to college, and yet because they may have come here with their parents and not legally, they could not qualify for federal aid, they could not qualify for state aid. Most of them known all their lives that they were illegal, and yet they were successful in school, they participated, they made friends, they were on athletic teams, they performed well in class. And people said, these are all American kids. However they came to this country, it was not their own, it was not their fault, they're not criminals, so we should make it easier and in fact make it college education available. It'd be great for America that they become contributing members of our society. They want to contribute, they're prepared to. All their teachers, all their people in the community want them to go further, and yet we have this somewhat stupid law that says they can't. And the DREAM Act was an acronym which came out to spell dream so that these people could reach the American dream. The DREAM Act says we all have to dream, not just the students who have a dream, not just the American dream that says these students should be able to go to college, but we're all trying to dream, I think, of a better society. And this is just one step. It's a small step, but it's one that we thought could get a lot of support.
The DREAM Act has had a very complicated and interesting history. It was first introduced in 2001 when a Republican senator welcomed 5 undocumented students. They told their story. They said, we want to go to school. We are excellent students, straight-A students. We excel in every single field, in academics and sports. But just because we don't have a Social Security card we can't go to a four-year institution. Help us. And the unlikely result of that was the Republican senator and Democratic senator came together and introduced the very first DREAM Act in 2001. Since then, it's been introduced every single Congress. And every single time it's been introduced, it's been shut down by legislators. The DREAM Act started out as a very simple piece of legislation. If you were in this country and you graduated from a United States high school and you're a good student and you wanted to go to college, then you will have legal status in this country. It was a very simple and very humane way of approaching the situation of hundreds of thousands of undocumented students who wanted to excel in academics. The bill was very positive, but then politics got involved. And suddenly, we began to see things like, if you want to go to a university, you could go to a university, but you will not qualify for federal financial aid. You will have to pay out of your own pocket to go to college. And if you cannot afford that, then your other option is the U.S. military. And that's why we began to see interesting allies supporting the new incarnation of the DREAM Act, like the Pentagon. Then the DREAM Act changed even further. Legislators began to say, well, not only do you have to pay out of your own pocket, but in order for the DREAM Act to pass, we have to get rid of in-state tuition for undocumented students, which is incredibly a larger amount of money than what you would pay if you were a legal resident of the state. So that became even more complicated for undocumented students. So suddenly, the path to a four-year institution became filled with obstacles. And the only clear path that undocumented students began to see was the military. And that's when a big split began to occur in the undocumented community. So, is it really worth to send our kids to fight a war, to get a green card? And the dream that folks had, which was to go to a four-year institution and get a degree, became a much more difficult dream to achieve.
My senior year of high school, it was 2009, and everyone else was applying to their dream colleges, and it was really hard because I wanted to go away from home and study what everyone talks about their senior year, and just not being able to do any of it was really hard because it's I have the grades, I've done so much community service, what did I do wrong? Why do I not deserve to go where I want to go? You did the same thing than the person right next to you, since you were in 5th grade or 6th grade, and then they'll go off and be happy with their lives. And you can't do that.
People growing up in the United States without papers are very often seriously affected. Sometimes they don't know that they don't have papers, and they find out in their late teenage years, and many kids feel ashamed and embarrassed. Some people, I think, get alienated and angry and may act out and feel as if they don't belong, and so they seek belonging in dangerous places, maybe drugs, maybe some kind of criminal activities. That could happen as well. And some people become activists, which I think is a really healthy thing to do. Their feelings tell them they are American, they belong here. Mexico is alien to them. Even I've met a number that, they're pretty fluent in Spanish, although many are not at all. It's not their culture. They're really American. They're kind of bicultural, but their heart is here.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 198. The motion is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
We're here to ask Senator McCain to co-sponsor the DREAM Act. It's a bill that would allow undocumented students such as ourselves to have access to higher education. Senator McCain was an advocate of this bill in 2007. He was pushing for it, he was championing for it, but 15 minutes before the vote, 15 minutes before our lives were about to become a reality, he walked out on us. And so we're here to ask him to call us. He walked out on the vote 15 minutes before it. So we're here to call you, ask you guys to give him a call and ask him to co-sponsor the bill right now.
The DREAM Act is an attempt to cure a symptom of a problem.
Leaders in Washington have not only tolerated lawlessness, but in fact our policies have encouraged it.
Because of their undocumented status, these young people are ineligible to serve in the military.
The people that have worked hard, that have played by the rules, and that want to do nothing other than make a contribution to the United States of America.
Who live in the shadows and dream of greatness.
They face tremendous obstacles to attending a college. For many, English is actually their first language.
This is their home. It applies only to those who came here at age 15 or younger and who have been here for at least 5 years.
And yet here we are in the final days of a lame duck, some say dead duck, Congress, considering a bill that would create a major problem to the effective enforcement of immigration laws.
There are huge costs to society and any number of personal tragedies as a result of illegal immigration.
They are dumbed down by their status. They are relegated to the shadows by their status. And along comes the DREAM Act.
On whether or not the United States Senate will stand by thousands of children in America.
I hope there are aye votes sufficient to pass both of these today.
Because the drive for equality is a great American drive, is part of the American dream, and on both these issues, we will prevail.
I am very disappointed Congress wasn't able to pass the DREAM Act so we can stop punishing kids for the actions of their parents and allow them to serve in the military or earn an education and contribute their talents to the country where they grew up.
It goes beyond a legal question or a political question. It is a moral question.
We had a chance to make a dream come true for tens of thousands of young people across America, a dream that they would have a chance to become part of the future of this great nation.
I am incredibly disheartened that less than 1% of the Republican caucus voted for this, including members who come from states with enormous immigrant and Latino populations.
But they have started something that cannot be stopped.
These young people are the next generation of leaders in America. While today's vote was a setback, it hasn't changed our resolve at all.
Because it is a mandate. It's a mandate for this nation. It's essential for our economic future, and it's essential to who we are as Americans.
We are experiencing a historic moment in the United States. And it has to be acknowledged that this is a movement of folks who are straight-A students and who still have the time and the passion to march, to protest, to travel to DC, to advocate, to lobby. I've seen how they're passionate about this. I've seen how they are willing to commit to even get deported. Risking deportation is what they're doing. Being separated from their families and leaving the only country that they knew behind and sacrificing all that they knew for this movement.
Finding that space really just got me pumped up because I was so frustrated and so angry that, you know, I was so undeserving of so many things because I didn't have a social security number. that I kind of channeled all of that to community organizing and being involved on another level in my community and, you know, letting all that anger out in a different, positive way.
I want to put these incredible students in front of people. I want to get them on TV stations. I want to get them newspaper editorial boards. I want them to go to PTAs and talk to people all over the country.
Oftentimes, people have this misconception of, you know, who undocumented people are. I think that once people start coming out and saying like, well, you know, hold on, you know, I'm not here stealing nobody's job, or I'm not here doing all these bad things like the media tells us, you know, you really realize that, you know, we are human and that we do deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, and that we're gonna fight for that.
Let's give an opportunity to our young men and women to remain in this country. This is their country. This is their community. This is where their families are. This is where they envision their future. This is their home.